So Drake dropped his surprise album called Honestly Nevermind, and it's had a bit of a mixed reaction to say the least. This kind of reaction to a Drake album drop is crazy. Come on, this is the guy that made Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, Views, even Scorpion had bangers on it. I haven't listened to that album yet, but I want to try and get to the bottom of what's happened here. So I'm going to quickly listen to that album and then hopefully I can recreate or make similar beats using free VST plugins. Okay, so I can kind of see why people might not like the new Drake album. I think it's because we got a version of Drake that nobody expected. We've had hip hop Drake, we've had dancehall Drake, we've had dark trap Drake, we've had reggaeton Drake, we've even had drill Drake, and plus we had this Drake as well at one point. But in this album, Drake gives us the singing pop/dance version of Drake, and you can see how this might lose some of his fan base that loved the last two albums. If I had to summarize it, basically Drake has gone from this to this. The only track really reminiscent of his last few albums was the very last track on the album called Jimmy Crooks featuring 21 Savage, which didn't really tie in with the rest of the album. It kind of felt like an afterthought, a track that was kind of just thrown in there at the end. But luckily for us, there are a few tracks on the album that I can make out of free VST plugins. The first one I'm going to attempt is a track called Massive. It kind of has like a house type of a feel to it. If you are going to remake tracks or you're just interested in what kind of BPM or key Drake uses on his album, Beatport is quite a good way to go. As you can see here, it tells you the key, but the BPM seems to me that it's a bit off, like 81 BPM. I'm gonna go with like 125 or something. If you do think Beatport is acting a bit weird with its tempo or key, Beat Source is a good way to go as well. As you can see here, E minor at 124 BPM. So obviously I'm not going to be able to play any of the Drake album in this video because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But if you listen to the track Massive, it has a predominant house type of piano pretty much throughout, and I know the perfect place to get such a piano from. So here is the Echo Soundworks house piano in Contact. Unfortunately, you will need the full version of Contact to run this. Comes with a few snapshots here, which is basically the presets, and a few dials down the bottom as well for you to tweak it however you want to. So as we said, this track was in E minor, so we're going to attempt to kind of like recreate the track or maybe make something similar. So let's go with E minor. So I'm going to set my ghost notes to E minor, draw out a simple E minor chord. So there we have our E minor chord. I've messed with the velocities a little bit as well, with that typical house kind of rhythm as well. In the second part of the melody, it sounds like it drops down a note or two. So I'm going to double it and drop it down an octave just to make it sound a bit more thicker. Some pretty nice snapshots there, but I'm going to go with this one here. It sounds like it kind of like hits harder. It's a bit more punchy in my opinion. So to give it that added like EDM house type of feel, I'm going to add a pumping sidechain to it. Not only does that make it sound rhythmically better, but also it adds pockets for the drums to fill in as well, so it really punches through the mix. So I'm going to be using the simple side plugin here. It starts off like this and you can just kind of make your own patterns essentially. I prefer this one to some of the other ones because the other ones have like pre-made patterns and you can't really customize it too much, whereas this doesn't have any pre-made patterns and you have to make it by yourself. As you can hear that instantly gives you that EDM type of feel. So next up, I'm going to want a bass to go underneath my piano. So I have opened up Vital here and I've downloaded some Echo Soundworks presets which are free of charge. This is not sponsored by Echo Soundworks, it just happens to be everywhere. Plus I'll leave all the links in the description below as well, save you running around finding them all. So let's step back a second. Vital is a free VST plugin. It kind of has the Serum kind of feel to it. Serum, by the way, is also another awesome VST plugin to make like EDM type stuff, but it's not free. So Vital is a great alternative. So I've gone for the Slap House 2 sound, and all I've done is use the root notes from the piano progression that we just made. Adding the simple side chain VST. In the Drake track Massive, it doesn't have a lot of sidechain in it, but this is just my personal preference. I'm not trying to make an exact duplicate. I think it just sounds cool like this. So in the intro to Massive, it has some kind of beeping sound going on, and then that sound is kind of throughout the whole production as well. So I'm going to hop back into Vital again. I've used this sound here called Aora, and all I've done is use the top note of the piano melody. Some sidechain. Gives it a nice bounce. So also in the track there is some kind of vox going on. It just goes boop 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 boop. Yeah, sounds just like that. So what I did is use my own voice on my microphone to try and replicate something very similar. Came out nothing like the original, but we do have something that will do as a cool alternative. Threw on some chorus here and I've pitched it up a little bit as well, and I've added some delay on it. So that was all of the melody kind of aspects before we put the drums in, and this is what that sounds like. As it is a free VST plugin type of video, I didn't bother making my own drums. I know, pretty lazy. Pulled up some pretty cool drums by Sticks. So the track we're going to try and replicate next using free VST plugins is Sticky. As you can see here, 137 BPM, and it is B flat minor. And the track starts off with some kind of low octave orchestral type of stuff, and then the drop is like completely random really into some 808 type of action. So we're going to try and replicate that intro first. So I've opened up Spitfire Audio Labs and I'm going to be using their cello moods. This is kind of like dark and eerie type of stuff. Pretty cool. If you can't figure out the notes that replicate the track you're trying to remake or make a track similar to, you can always, in whatever DAW you use, convert the original WAV to MIDI. It works differently in every DAW, but there's always a way to do it. In Ableton, you just simply right click and then you go to convert melody to MIDI, and then it will spit out some of the notes, and you can kind of delete some of the ones that make no sense and keep the ones that sound similar to the melody you want. Essentially, we just did that, I think, something along those lines. This is how the melody turned out. I absolutely love that, some kind of epic movie type score type stuff, and for free as well with Spitfire Labs. Mad. So in my last video I says to you guys, if you comment below soon July, I'll give you a shout out in my next video. Well, this is the next video, and here are the people that commented. If you would like a shout out in my next video, all you have to do right now is in the comment section below, just comment what you think about the Drake album. That's it. Even if you're not a fan of him, just tell me if you're not a fan of him and why. But it will be the first 20 people that comment that will get a shout out. Now let's get back into it. So I wanted to complement it with another instrument, so I've chosen a piano to complement it with. The piano I chose, of course, is the Hotel Piano by Patent Sounds. To run this one right here, you will need the full version of Contact, but if you don't have Contact, there is also a version for the free Decent Sampler as well. So you just download the free Decent Sampler and download the Hotel Piano. I've dropped it down some octaves as well, so it's kind of dark sounding. What I love about the Hotel Piano is that we left all of the artifacts in there. So from the original recording, there was some things going on in the room. So there's like little sounds here and there, and we just left it in because it kind of gives it a more intimate type of feel that you're actually in a room with someone playing a piano. This is what we have. So now time for the drop. The drop was completely random for the intro. We had some hard hitting 808s, some drums, and I kind of like vox over the top, as well as some kind of like bow in the background as some kind of like repetitive progression. So we're going to start with that progression first. Headed back over to Vital, used this lo-fi Rhodes. I did a WAV to MIDI type of thing, again the same as I did for the intro, and this is what we came up with. It's very subtle in the track, but it's definitely there. Added some Valhalla Supermassive, which is an awesome free VST plugin, and plus they've updated it recently with more presets. Added the free wider to make it, you know. Added a auto filter, so it's kind of progressing and then back down again and progressing back up again. A bit of simple side as well to give it a nice kind of bounce. Next up was the 808. I used a random 808. I used some of the notes from that bow progression I just showed you. And then I just copied the original groove or progression from the Drake track. So next was the kind of vocal shout that I could hear. It sounded like the producer had used one of the vocals from maybe like Arcade or something, but since we're using free VST plugins, I didn't bother even going in there. I just found a random vocal chop by Sticks that I had lying around on my computer and kind of tried to make it sound similar to the original, which it sounds nothing like, by the way. But it's the same kind of idea and method that was used in the original. We added a tremolo, auto filter, phaser, EQ, reverb. I was trying the most to make this sound similar to the original and still got nowhere near. We added simple side as well to give it a bounce. Added a similar drum pattern as the original Drake track using the Phoenix kit from Patent Sounds. And then I added this random texture, which is probably not in the original, but I just thought it sounded cool anyway. Added a simple side to it. So yeah, this is what we came up with. It's a bit of a random production, not a production I would normally produce myself, but that's the good thing about these remakes or making tracks that are similar to other tracks. Kind of takes you out of your comfort zone, makes you create stuff that you probably wouldn't normally make. Like this intro and this drop is just crazy. If you want me to do more Drake tracks from the album, let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know what you think of the album in the comment section below as well. I would love to know what your thoughts are. So either way, Drake got a massive response with this album. Maybe it was some kind of pro level marketing that we don't know about. If you do want to see more videos of me actually making music, please let me know in the comment section below, as well as clicking like on this video, as it really does help push the video through the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, be safe, be productive, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.
And that's only because until you've surrendered it to the world, you really don't know how people are going to feel about it. And even when you surrender it to the world, now we're in the times where, you know, the first reaction is just people just want to say the funniest shit. So it's always like the album will drop at 12:01, trash bins, you know, whatever. For any artist, you know, it's like, you know, I think people are more excited about, you know, being top comment than being, you know, actually really taking in an album and listening. But inevitably you need music in your life. So then 2-3 weeks passes and you get an honest gauge on what you just surrendered to.